بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المأسومين المذنومين المنتخبين المنتجبين الذين كلامهم نور وأمرهم رشد ووصيتهم التقوى وفعلهم الخير وعادتهم الإحسان وسجيتهم الكرم لا سيما على المهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأشرقت الأرض بنور ربها صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word nur in the Quran in several occasions. And seldom does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says the word nur, which translates as light, seldom does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He uses this word nur in the Quran, does He mean a physical nur or light. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks of nur in Quranul Kareem, He uses this word to refer to different concepts and different ideas. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Himself Nur. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Mathalu nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ جَاءَكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ نُورٌ وَكِتَابٌ مُبِينٌ. That in the way that if there is complete darkness in front of me, I'm unable to differentiate that there is something in front of me, and I'm unable to see the obstacles in front of me. If I have a book that I wish to read and there's complete darkness, I can't read. However, when there's light, all of those things are made clear. Allah says, I sent down to you the book, Quranul Kareem, but without lightness there's no book. The light to allow me to read this book was, for example, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Or He said, أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ نُورًا مُبِينًا. The Quran itself was called Nur. In our analysis tonight of a verse of Surah 39, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. That this earth will be illuminated by the light of its Lord. Scholars said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse was highlighting a time on the Day of Judgment where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the state of the earth during that time. That the earth is completely covered and encompassed by the light of the Lord of the earth. To understand what was this light, ulama gave different ideas and understandings. For example, some said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for me and you on this earth a system of daytime and nighttime. And He says that the nahar was there as ma'asha, وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ subata. Night was there for rest, daytime was there for work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this system without which I would be unable to function. If all of my day was daytime, who would ever wish to come home? Who would ever wish to, for example, not work? Who would do ibadat? Who would be able to rest? How can I sleep anyway? And if all of the day was nighttime, I'm unable to function and deal with my day-to-day activities. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His wisdom placed for me the sun, placed for me the moon, placed for me these horizons. However, according to certain ulama, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا, that on the day of Qiyamah He gets rid of the sun and its light, and He gets rid of the light of the moon, and all that is left is darkness. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order to illuminate this earth, produces His own light from this earth. What this light is, we don't know. Rather, the sun won't be present, the moon won't be present, and that is what is referred to in this ayah. This was one idea, that the sun is gone, the moon is gone, a new source of light is present for the hisab and the accounting and the questioning to take place. This was one idea. Another idea that came was no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says nur, like in many of the other verses of Quranul Kareem, doesn't mean a physical nur. The sun will be there, the moon will be there will be a normal daytime. However, when he says nur and light, وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا, he means the light of adala and justice. Because on the day of Qiyamah, every single atom that has been taken place of good or bad is accounted for. And there's nothing left which has been unjust and not been called out by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, because وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ, the oppressors realize what will take place on that day. Because no more is there dhulm present on this earth, there will be a spiritual nur covering the earth. Why? Because adala as a virtue, justice for hope. There's one adala in fiqh. Imam Jama has to be adil. Marja of taqleed has to have certain adala. That's a different adala. Adala here means justice. I place things where they are to be placed. I treat people in the way that they should be treated. Adala as a quality and a virtue has its own inner metaphysical light. Me and you can't see it. However, you'll notice when you see a person in his characteristics, in his day-to-day dealings and life, who has adala, naturally you are attracted towards that person. If there's a person in your family, amongst your friends, who you see has this virtue of justice, naturally a spiritual light is resonated from him and you are attracted towards that person because of his adala. And I'll give you an example of this. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he says in a narration that Yadu Ali ibn Abi Talib fil adala, the hand of Amir al-Mu'mineen in regards to justice is the same as my hand. Meaning what? Whatever is the justice of me, Rasulullah, is the justice of Abu al-Hasan salamullah alayhi. Salman al-Muhammadi says, I heard this narration. I said, let me see. What is the truth of it? So I visited the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi. I said, Ya Nabi Allah, have you got any dates today? Tamar. So there he had dates and he took a handful. And now when a person asks you for a certain thing, you're not going to count each one. A generous person takes a handful and gives. So he took a handful, didn't see, and gave it to him. Salman took that group of dates, the bunch of dates, he counted afterwards. He saw that in this one handful of the Prophet of Islam, there were 9 dates. Then he goes to Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, Ya Abu al-Hasan, do you have any dates in the house? He says, yes, of course. Again, without looking. Person isn't a miser to just, how many can I give him, 2 or 3 today? No, he took a bunch and gave it to him. As soon as he gives it to Salman al-Muhammadi, Salman says, I began counting in front of Amir al-Mu'mineen. I said 1, 2. I got to the 3rd and Ali ibn Abi Talib says, Salman, if the Prophet of Islam had given you 1 more than 9, I would have given you that same number. The justice of Amir al-Mu'mineen was the same as the justice of who? The Prophet of Islam. I said adala has nur. What was the nur? If you look at this adala as a virtue, how it attracts people towards that individual. During those 4 or so years that our master was forced even to hold the reins of Khilafatul Muslimin, one day Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I entered into my house. When I entered into my house, I saw that there was a shield or an armor that I used to wear on the battlefield. This shield was missing. Now at that time, even in fiqh, we have this discussion. Items of clothing were unique to that individual. You don't have, for example, the stores today, you buy one t-shirt, another buys it, it's exactly the same thing. No, every single piece of clothing was unique to that person. Even if you said, give me the same abba as this, it would be slightly different. So Amir al-Mu'mineen knew that if I see anyone on the streets of Kufa with an armor, that will be my armor, because it's unique to me. He says, I came out onto the streets of Kufa. And I saw that there's a person who was a Christian who had the exact same armor. I came to him. Now when you read the period of this lifetime of our Master, Salamullah alayhi, person sometimes becomes astonished. Today you have any leader, you have a person that gets a bit of fame, and he can't leave his house with at least 2 or 3 or 4 people around him for protection, even though he's not that important. Ali ibn Abi Talib, people would find him sleeping under a tree without anyone there. They would say, Ya Abu al-Hasan, you are the Khalif of the Muslimin, someone can kill you. But these things weren't important to Ali ibn Abi Talib. He was a Khalif, if you call him, but one with this nur of Adalah. He came to this person. He says, this shield, this armor that you are wearing belongs to me. In fiqh, we have a discussion called fiqhul ikhtilaf. I say this belongs to me, you say no. In fiqhul ikhtilaf, there is a jurisprudential principle that is used, al-bayyina lil-mudda'i wal-yamin ala man ankar. What does this mean? A person who is claiming that this belongs to him, that person needs to bring two adil witnesses. So you claim that this is your aba. I didn't claim it. It's on my shoulders. If you claim this is your aba, you need to bring me two adil witnesses. Two adil witnesses in Arabic is known as what? Bayyina. If I can't bring two adil witnesses, then I, who refutes your claim, I have to take an oath and qasam. Whichever side does whichever one, the thing goes to them. So the Christian says, look, you're claiming it's yours, I don't accept. They go to the courts. Have you ever seen a person who is the Khalif of that state, of at least 10 of the countries of today? He sees that he has a property that has been stolen from him. Rather than taking it from that person by force, he says, I'll take that person to court. And even that court wasn't someone, the judge wasn't someone that Amir al-Mu'minin knew. They entered into the court, the judge says, what is the issue? Ali ibn Abi Talib says, this armor belongs to me. A ruler of a country does this type of dealing. He says, this belongs to me. He says, look, Ya Abul Hasan, al-bayyana lil-mudda'i wal-yamin ala man ankar. Do you have two adil witnesses? So the traditions say, coincidentally, he didn't. He says, I don't have two adil, just witnesses that this armor belongs to me. He says, then you know what is the case. So the case was finished. That person took the shield and left. 5 days later, or whatever, they saw that person enter into the masjid doing wudu. So they stopped him. They said, you used to be a Christian. What are you doing here? He says, when I saw that the leader of the Muslimin has all of the power in his hands, and I have unlawfully taken this armor of his, yet still he deals with me with the adala of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why would I not accept this man's religion? وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. Some said wasn't a physical light, was this light of adala that we would see from the Imma alayhim as-salam, and is this light of the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that spreads across the dunya on Yawmul Qiyamah. This was one idea. Another idea mentioned by Sahib Tafsir al-Mizan, Allama Tabatabai. Allama Tabatabai uses a verse of Quran to prove what was meant in this verse. He says, فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَسَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. On that day, the veils are lifted, the eyes become as sharp as iron. Why? Because on that day, I've mentioned this before, we call the day of Qiyamah a day. We don't say Qiyamah, we say Yawmul Qiyamah. Quran says, even though the sun is there, but there's no daytime and nighttime. You can only say this is day when fi qibalihi, in opposition to it, you have nighttime. Here there's no nighttime, there's no daytime. So why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call Qiyamah Yawmul Qiyamah? The answer that was given by ulama was that in the nighttime everything is hidden. As soon as the day comes, everything becomes manifest. Yawmul Qiyamah was called the day of Qiyamah because in the same way all of the a'mal of insan become manifest in front of his eyes. So when Allah says وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا, what's that light? That's the light I see when I realize my a'mal. Question, who performs these a'mal? I'm performing them. If I'm performing them, I should be aware of them. So what's this manifestation of my a'mal during day of Qiyamah? The answer comes certain times. I know I'm fasting deep in my mind. I know I'm sa'im. However, I become negligent of it. Certain things are in my mind, but they're in the bottom of my mind. This type of knowledge is called ilmul irtikazi. Ilmul irtikazi, I know it, but it's at the bottom of my mind. If someone was to ask me, are you fasting? I'd say yes. But there are certain parts in the day, for example, I become negligent and ghafil that I am sa'im. In the same way was the issue of the a'mal and the actions of the human being. He's the one that's performing them. But often or not, he becomes ghafil and negligent of these actions that he is the one that's performing them. Eventually, when you are asked, have you done this? You'll say yes. But because this was at the bottom of your mind, these are then made manifest on that day, that whatever I have committed from the day of bulugh till the day I leave this world becomes manifest. With regards to this, a narration comes from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the ulama mentioned that the Prophet of Islam was traveling one day with his companions. Where this journey was, where they were going, we don't know. But they were traveling. They got to the middle of nowhere and they decided to stop in this place for the night. Prophet of Islam says, look, the weather is very cold throughout the night. It's not practical for us to sleep like this. So collect some wood for us to then make a fire, whatever you can. I said, Ya Rasulullah, we're in the middle of nowhere, desert. How can we find any wood? He says, no. I, as the Prophet of Islam, give you a hukm. Go out wherever you can, as far as you can, and come back with whatever you find. All of the ashab that were with him, all were told, go out and bring it back. So when all came back, when they first went out, one found a small twig from this tree, a small piece of wood from that tree, very little pieces. By the time they came back and joined all of this wood together, they saw they have enough wood to have a fire that would last all of the night time. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we never would have thought that there's this much wood in this area. He says, what do you mean? He says, yes, we accumulated a bit by bit, and it turned out like this. He says, this will be the state of people on the day of Qiyamah. I never thought I was this big of a sinner. I never thought I did these a'mal. In the same way, when I accumulate a bit on Wednesday morning and a bit on Thursday evening and a bit by bit, this becomes like this large collection of wood that they were able to burn this fire all of the night time. This is the manifestation on the day of Qiyamah. That often I am ghafil and I don't realize what I have done. When I bring it all together, this is made manifest. And so this was what was meant by وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. Another idea. A fourth idea is a person reads in Dua al-Nudba, وَشِيئَتُكَ عَلَى مَنَابِرَ مِن نُور مَبْيَذَّةً وُجُوهُهُمْ حَوْلِي فِي الْجَنَّةِ. That on that day the Shia of Ali bin Abi Talib salamullahi alayhi will be on pulpits of nur and light, and they will have faces covered with this illumination. Some said when Allah says that the earth will be covered with light on the day of Qiyamah, this was the light that was shining from the faces of those with wilayah of Amirul Mu'mineen. For all other faces on that day may have darkness and won't have this illumination, but those who have the wilayah of Amir Mu'mineen and his family deep in their hearts will have this illumination. This was the light. Finally, however, when we come to look at this verse, ahadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam, all of these can be correct. It's not necessary that if one is correct, the other is incorrect. No. Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam explained to us what was meant by the light of this earth. Nuru Rabbiha. As-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi says that on that day there will be the light of the dhuhur of Sahibul Asri wal Zaman. That this will be such a light when Sahibul Asri wal Zaman comes out of the darkness and the dark shackles of ghaibah and occultation. There will be a light that fills this earth. This is the light of the Lord of this earth. Because in reality, if I was to realize the wujud and the presence of this Imam, even when he is in ghaibah, is a source of light for me and you. When a person reads, for example, Ziyaratul Jami' al-Kabira, and these are the supplications, and reads what were we given for the sake of Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam. When the narration comes, if it wasn't for the Imam on this earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't even cause rain to fall down from the skies. Or the fact that the earth is in orbit and the sun is in orbit and all of these things is because of the wujud of the Imam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about this light that right now may seem to be for some to be hidden. However, it becomes manifest. With regards to this, I remember a few months ago, in the shrine of Sayyidah Ma'sooma salamullahi alayha, there was a lesson I had with one of the ulama in Qom. There were a few people in the lesson. And after the lesson, the alim, he said, I welcome questions. So someone asked a question about what are the most authentic books on a certain topic, and he mentioned. Then there was a certain reason, I don't want to go into those issues, that he told us this riwayah from the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. This riwayah is what? As we know, when Yusuf salamullah alayhi was fi ghayabat al-jub, in the darkness of the well, and he's taken out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes a caravan to pass by and they take him out. As soon as they take this child out of the well, someone says to the other members in the caravan, take care of this gharib. In Arabic, gharib means someone who is a foreigner, without any friends, without any family. Take care of this gharib. So Yusuf alayhi salam says, how can you call me gharib and alone when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always with me? You can't call me gharib when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there. As we know, they saw that this child is very beautiful. He is well built. He can do a lot of work for someone as a servant, as a khadim, as a slave. So let's take him into Egypt and sell him. As we know, we all know what takes place. They take Nabi Yusuf salamullah alayhi into the city, and everyone was told, all of the city was told, there's new merchandise, something very good. When they heard of this servant that you can buy, that you have never seen the likes of this person before, all of the city came. The rich, the poor came just to see what's going on, who's going to pay for him how much. The rich came to actually buy him. And people began to auction and give their price for this child. So one person said this group of coins, one said I'll give this many golden coins, a third said another. An elderly man came forward. In an auction, when they say 100, another person says 150, then 200. So if a person is coming forward, what is assumed is what he's going to say is going to be more than 200. So when one says 10 golden coins and another says 20, a third says 30, this old man, when he comes, they expected him to say what? 50, 100. He came. He took out from his pocket a bundle of thread. He says, this is what I wish to purchase this child with. So first they said, he's an old man, leave him. Maybe he's forgotten something, maybe he doesn't know what's going on. He said, no, I wish to buy this child with this bundle of thread. He says, can you see how much they're willing to pay? They're willing to pay 100 golden coins or even more for this child, and you think you can buy him with this thread? Old man, you should know you can't buy him. You'll never be able to buy this child. He says, of course I know that. This is the point. He says, of course I know that I can never buy Yusuf. However, I did so that on the day of judgment, Allah will place me in the list of those people who tried to buy a prophet of God. The same thing comes with Sahibul Asri wal Zaman. This light that is hidden, sometimes I think I can never reach this light. My life will go before I see the manifestation of the Noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fine, be like this man. Bring whatever you can so that you are in the list of those that called out to Sahibul Asri wal Zaman. Be amongst those in the list of those who tried to find the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For then as-Sadiq salamullah alayhi says, Ashraqat al-ardu bi-nuri rabbiha. When Sahibul Asr's Dhuhur takes place and this light covers and encompasses all of the dunya, at that moment there will be so much light. I said Noor sometimes can be physical, sometimes can be metaphysical and spiritual. This light, according to the riwayat, is both a physical Noor and a spiritual Noor. As-Sadiq says there will be so much light from the reappearance of Sahibul Asr that then no longer do we need the sun, no longer does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need the light of the moon. Be of those who are on the list of those that try to find this light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring this light to us closer, for us to be able to gain guidance from Sahibul Asri wal Zaman fi dunya wal akhirah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma ighfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك رافع الدرجات، إنك سامع الأصوات، إنك دافع البليات، إنك قاضي الحاجات. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.